Welcome. This is Crimey Queen. And if you're joining us for the first time, we are on a high right now. Okay. All right. This is the channel about love, fun, and numerology. And really, we're at a stage of a profound discovery. Um, I can't say it's new at all, but it's new. It's just so delicious when we can see the manifestation, or we have a notion or idea, but we can see something in a mathematical way that seem to show an equation. So basically, I'm on this series, which was intended as templates. Perhaps this is really good too, a template for numerology. And well, now I can't see any more fitting word than a template, but this is so wonderful. So I have been talking about um, Genesis, Revelation, and Luke with chapter 22, of course, Revelation with chapter 22. And there was this series of synchronicities. We call them coincidences. But of course, we know everything is divinely guided, and it's just up to us to really be receptive and open our eyes to what is being revealed to us. So, my prayer, or you could say, is that I want to see, because I want to grow. I want to understand my makeup. I want to understand the world that I live in. And of course, because I have written two volumes, or I have gone through a journey that led me on to writing The Crimson Light, it was a journey of self discovery and self transformation, of actualizing self full love, which I make reference to. That journey led me to understanding that things were not like just as they seem to be in the material world, but the material world is really a reflection of that which we are, or how we perceive ourselves to be. And that was a very huge transformation for me. Really, that has reflected in this series, where I could see through the scripture of um, Luke chapter 22, verse from 10 to maybe 22 thereabout, but it was the specific text about a man going to go to the city. It's like Jesus is telling this person. It sounds like Jesus, but really it's the way the text is written. It does not clearly make direct reference to Jesus in that way. It's always him. And I'm believing there is another secret to the word him, because look, he's like saying, look at him, HIM. This is what I'm getting now, and I know something else is going to transpire from that. But what has transpired so far is that W, the secret about W. Now, we covered that in my last presentation, which I think it's number 8 thereabout, or it could be 9 too, because we are at that cycle of transformation. It would be very interesting to see if it was number 9 or even number 8, because then that would be the upper room that we were talking about. And number 8 is really the number of heaven and earth. So there we are. We had covered the enlightenment stage that was reflected there in number 22. Number 22 is 2 and 2 is 4. But also we saw how man, the good man, number 5 here. Okay, we'll go back to 22. Number 5 and 1, the man, good man, was 6, coinciding here beautifully, beautifully. So number 5, like I said, also transpires here. This is another thing that I want to mention. Number 5 pious hair, which we also have seen that the hidden chamber was made reference to. Um, I'm like a little bit excited, like a child with a toy right now. And so we saw that in Luke chapter 22, we have worked out that 2 and 2 is 4, and 4 is hidden in this chamber. So it's a chamber, or it's two chambers, but there are hidden chambers, and there is the 4. Now, if I remember well, the cerebral cortex, or there is that 2 chamber, but is there another? Okay, but I am believing this to be the 2 chamber, and also I saw this as the breast, so it's correlating where one sucks onto the breast and he is fed for his nutrition of, well, for growth, spiritual growth as well as physical growth, because this analogy falls perfectly with a child who is being fed. He goes through the Passover from breast to breast. That is the Passover. And where the 12 comes into, that 12 disciples that were sat on the table. So with the breast, I've got to get that 12 aspect to see how that tallies, but also we see from here in Genesis. I think Genesis is going to offer us more enlightenment with that, which is 3 and 3. That is 6. That 6, of course, confirms that new state, because in that new creation of God, which God created man last, was there, and he rested on the 7th day. So there was the new. We have covered the man going into the city. He is enlightened. He becomes wise like a fox. Hair is also, in that fox, is required to make a sort of ah. So now I see. Perhaps this A is what they are talking about, that the the serum of enlightenment goes up and down again. Perhaps it's also Jacob's ladder. Things are just falling into place. But obviously, it shows her perfectly. So here, this is where we know that you have gone into meditation, your third eye is open, you are really wise, you are aware of all the aspects of who you are, hence the word again, exnial, EXNIAL. When you have gone through this journey, you are a wise creature. You have learned this journey. You have been introduced to it here. But of course, you become aware here. I know I have been saying this because I could relate to this, but saying it in the scriptures, in the way it is written, the way they have played with the water which is in the crimson light, it's transparent seas. Transparent seas. That's what presence speaks about. I am the beauty in transparent seas. I am the beauty in the transparent seas that you see in the eyes of a child when you gaze in the eyes. Wow. So, water, because in Luke, there is the word eat. They have played with the words. Because after all, there's no joy in the writing if you can't play in the words. So we see water, and to cover the idea of the Old Testament, where they speak of the honey sucking on the sucking, I say on the breast, but I suppose it really was a representation of the breast as well, the honeycomb. And it would be interesting to do a numerical value on honeycomb. But of course, let's, because of our board. So that is what I would like to, of course, make mention of first. We see 3 5s of 15 here in Genesis, which goes perfectly here in the newness. We see the 7 here, it's that cycle. So we have 3 5s, 15. As I said, I have 3 5s in my date of birth, and I am believing that this I am divinely guided to do this. And 7 goes, and 7 is my soul urge number. Delicious. So 7 is here. Wow, this is interesting. I am seeing all my numbers here. Okay. And what I felt was very delicious as well is that understanding that W, because W, oh my, I just got it. Just got it. First of all, I wondered about why I had no inclination. The forces, invisible forces, have been holding my hand and working through my brain. I don't want to take all the credit for this, but of course, the force is working through me. It is all in us. No inclination to change the bucket or basket here. No inclination to change this one. No inclination to change the D here. And now I am just getting a message. It's the D that God sent out, the dove that God would have sent out to check if the flood had dried up. Because we see here, this is the human spirit here again that coincides with the number 9 here in sacrifice, which is a new era in that E, to see whether the flood had dried up. That's the dove. D for the dove. And the other letter that I had no inclination to change was new. I am just so thankful that I can capture the essence of this and record it, because sometimes we just lose it. In fact, now I just want to, it's loose in the heavens, so it's loose in the earth. Okay, all right. So this is, now I started this presentation to say that I saw something here that reflects in Luke as well. And they sat. There was a word sat, and he sat. And we see S-A-T. And of course, Christ or Luke, or the writing is that he was to ask the man, the good man, ask the good man, A-S-K. And then we have, of course, we can only say jab, because someone would be getting a jab in that enlightenment. That is very profound. So that came at me. And then when I was looking at Revelation, that has revealed this wonderful delicious meal, which corresponds with W, the water. It begins, we've had many words that have been showing us the correlation with W and 9, meaning R. So W is 5, ending with R. We know whenever we get a word that begins with W and ends with R, hair, new, and R, because from new, we are not allowed to change any. Mm, mm, mm. Change any. There were 11 letters that we're not allowed to change. And so of these 11 letters, they are representations of the master number 11. The word Jesus is 11. So when we go through this cycle, we are Jesus. I can say that boldly now. And I know that I have the Spirit of Christ. It's that Chris, that that spirit that sputs to our brain when we become enlightened. In the city, when you go to the city and you see the good man, you can only see the good man when you go to the city. Wow. So we have this, and it's that intuition that has led us onto such a beautiful template. It's that intuition that shows us the need to be enlightened here in the new. It coincides with that new perspective that we are having. When we get onto that journey, that gypsy journey, which is 7 in Genesis, now we understand. And then we have 191. 9-1. So basically, in here, we start this other journey again with that 1-1-9-1, because I have also showed the interplay of what happens here with 1, 9, and 1, which is really what happens from 7 back to 1. This is it here. That's the interplay that happens in the headquarters. And the 1, which is like striking here. So we could play with this 0, the head here, back and forth with this 1, whether we are doing 1 hair or whether we are 9 hair or we are doing 1 hair. That is the function that happens after the 7. So we do 7 to 1. Revelation is uncovering because 1 is here and 7 is there. The Genesis or the cisgen, back to front, whichever, because that's what Revelation is doing. And what I saw was beautiful as well in that which we saw, we have discovered with that W or with that B, that going into the high chamber. This is the high chamber. It is correlating perfectly with that T, because when you get to that, this is it. This is the W. We put the W here. This is the W with the T. Can't go any further. What goes up must come down. And it's that interplay that happens there. That heaven and earth is also happening here. That's the water. That's the bread. That's what they ate. A-T-E. If we were to just look at W and R, we probably would just say water. Of course, we have WTR, we would just say water. That's what they were asked to eat, which has replaced milk and honey. There's the water. That's the reflection. In Luke, the book of Luke, chapter 22, particularly with verse from 10 to, well, I started from 11. 11 was the one that really got me. 11, again coinciding with the word Jesus. So this is the relationship, exnial, the relationship when we get to that here we have done exnial, which is a relationship with the foreign, which the quality of relationship with a foreign land, a foreign people, a foreign language. And that, oh my, and that's what it's about. All of a sudden, I am whispering. Of course, when you find something very delicious, it seems in our nature not to shout too much because everyone will be crowding you before you can actually savor. And in fact, savor the beautiful, delicious flavors of that. Which reminds me, I suppose this is a very good example that I have learned a lot. So, because I come from a family of 14 children, when I would dish out or meal or supper, I always left myself without. Everyone was fed, and they'd probably feel sorry for me and say, all right, have a peace of mind, you know. And so now I want to really enjoy this. I want to really enjoy this wonderful deliciousness of this revelation. So there is so much. I'm going to actually have a series of words that can derive from water. And also we see the good man. I'm not sure if there's any need to do that, but it would be interesting. The other thing we see as well is that the word, the man, there is also the M in there that, if it was turned upside down, would be a W. And so that would also, just man would be 11. If we were to take that into consideration, that would be 5 and 5. And perhaps that's exactly where the I am comes from. Because I am and man still equals the same. So that is I am, because I am is 5 and I am is 5. And that, if I remember very well, let's see about that. Let's see about that. Yes. So that is 10, 11, 12, 13. That is the number that has brought us onto this beautiful journey. That is the number that people have been petrified. And of course, now it's understandable, because when you get to that number and you put that number to use, you go in the high chamber, you have a responsibility to act on it. You don't just acquire the status of going to a high chamber where you are served such a delicious meal and do nothing with it. Now that is so clear. I understand that the number 13 is what has brought us to this wonderful place. I am leaving you with this. There's so much more to all of this. It's the man. Of course, there is another play with word that I picked up, the word picture. But we'll get back to that because, of course, we want to really spill over with love. Okay, I am thanking you for watching this video. Wow. I hope you have found it beneficial, enjoyable, amusing. Of course, it's all that. And enlightening. If you have found it all of that, click the like button and share, because this is how we do it. We share to actualizing self-full love. May the angels, may the elders and saints and all that which is enjoy with us this wonderful discovery. In the meantime, stay blessed, stay bright, and stay ignited. I think the word ignited is namaste. That's the beauty.